We have been working with CP Rail in terms of discussion on purchasing the lands along Dewdney Avenue, and that followed on the work that the provincial government had done, and they were looking at purchasing the full plot of property. There's roughly 33 acres. As we work through the process with CP, and we still are in negotiations with CP, and so we're under some confidentiality requirements at this point in time, but those discussions have led us to the fact that basically what we'll be able to purchase from CP is a plot of land that's about 17.5 acres. So it still is a prime piece of land within that area, and if you were to look at it on a map, it's kind of a long, narrow strip running all the way along Dewdney Avenue. So again, has that frontage to the prime street, but at 17.5 acres, and also with the size being long and narrow, it doesn't actually accommodate a stadium. So the stadium footprint would be much more significant in that it's not just the building itself, but you need good circulation around the facility as well. As we started to move through that and through our discussions, needed to look at what would be a plan B, plan C, potentially. As those discussions moved along, we looked at two options. We looked at the Evraz Place site, and we also looked at the existing lands where Mosaic Stadium is today. And the reason we looked at those two is they're both city-owned lands, so the city has the ability to control the development on those lands, and we can move forward, in a timely manner. Pretty clearly, the Evraz Place site started to look very attractive, and as we started to explore it more and consider the synergies with the other facilities on that site, so the Brent Center for events, the Queensbury Conference Center that holds events as well. The stadium was a nice fit and a complementary aspect there. The management team in Evraz Place can use the multiple facilities in different ways. There's the 6-pad rink complex, Cooperator Center, and the Credit Union Eventplex soccer facility. So there's a great combination of sports and other facilities that can be used in different ways, as well as it's a very large site actually, and there's lots of space to accommodate a stadium on there with the room to move around the stadium and still accommodate all the other events that happen at Evraz Place. And Evraz Place really is not that far from downtown. We need to do a better job of making the connection to the stadium much nicer, make the walk much nicer, and those kind of things. So that's all contemplated, as well as looking at parking and other issues that will still need to be developed. But all that led us to Evraz Place being the primary site. As I say, the city owns it. We can move forward on it right away, and it has great synergies with the other facilities that will be very near the stadium.
I think it's a great idea to have the stadium here just because we have the infrastructure of management, we have the infrastructure of booking staff, we have the infrastructure of operational staff and equipment that, that will all be required wherever the stadium is built, whether it was outside the city or downtown in the city. You'd have to have an infrastructure of equipment, have to have an infrastructure of staff to operate that. And so having it here allows us to capitalize on what we already have, so we're not duplicating that service within the city. And then we can capitalize on it as well by incorporating that stadium into some of our major events. So things like the Farm Progress Show, won't be an interference to that show because we can actually use the stadium as part of that show. The Queen City Exhibition is another example that will be used. We'll incorporate the stadium into our show, adding more amenities to the patrons as they come to the exhibition.